I can't stop cursing. I can't stop cursing. I've tried like 20 videos. I can't stop cussing. Here's what's funny. Look, I noticed this earlier because this is my first real YouTube video. And I'm not going to edit it. I just want to do it kind of free ball. Let's let it all hang out there, right? So, because I don't want to edit, I'm like, hey, the first time I see myself on screen, I'm like, holy shit, look at that forehead. It looks like I'm running. Don't I look like a cheetah? Like I'm really fast right now? Or it's windy? I thought so. My name's Lowdown, and this channel is Lowdown Logic. And this channel is going to be really about the economy, but when it gets down to brass tacks, it's not about the economy. It's about people. It's about hardworking, everyday people. It's about middle-class America. You see, when I was watching YouTube, I found a bunch of brilliant minds, people who are really smart, to talk about the economy and give us their projections of what they thought was going to happen. And here's the thing, is that these are people who are really, really successful investors, or they're successful in real estate, or they're economists who have studied the economy for decades. But I realized something. They can't agree on whether it's going to be inflation or deflation, or even meet in the middle somewhere where there's going to be a bunch of stagflation. But at the end of the day, we all know something is coming. We feel it. We can't keep this up, right? Look at that, I got it right first try. Look. We can't keep this up, right? We are no longer the richest nation in the world. I've got a news flash for you. We are the most indebted nation in the world. And right now, we are at a real weird place where we have two things going on. We have a record-breaking stock market and record-breaking unemployment numbers. You know, I don't have anything against those other channels that are really informative, and they're conducted by people that are really successful. Let me make something clear. Capitalism has pulled more people out of poverty than socialism ever will. That's a fact. But I did feel like there was a void there, like some of these people talking about fleeing to Puerto Rico and $20 million portfolios that they manage for themselves. 2 passports. Listen, I can't flee. I can't just go. And I don't think the average American can either. We can't just pick up and go. We don't have those kind of resources. And I don't even know if I would, if I could. So I felt like there's room for somebody else. Somebody to speak for the middle class. Let's not forget, just as recently as 2019, over 70% of Americans couldn't afford a $400 emergency without tapping resources like a line of credit or family friends, something of that nature. That's my reality. That's where I wake up and I go to a 9 to 5. Okay? That's just, I'm not complaining. That's what I need to do for my family, for my wife, for my kids. And I know that there's a lot of other people out there just like me. So this channel is really going to be about how do middle class people best preserve their wealth? What actions can we take? And sure, we'll reference some of those other experts, but I think the best expert that we could possibly ask is history. So on this channel, we're going to flash back in history often. I'll also be doing things like current events, like watching what our leaders are doing. What are they saying? Oh, I'm going to give you an example, see if I can figure this out. Leaders like Janet Yellen. What is Janet Yellen saying? Yellen says U.S. could return to full employment next year if Congress passes the $1.9 trillion stimulus. So in other words, as long as we keep injecting heroin into our economy, we'll keep it afloat. And think about this. The massive correction that was about to take place in the market in March of 2020, and all of a sudden, this through the CARES Act, all this liquidity injected into the market. And ever since then, everything's been straight up. It's not going to continue. You can't just print your way out of trouble. Indeed, trouble is coming for us. And sure, they can pull their tricks and they can keep this whole thing afloat for another year, 2 years. But eventually, somebody has to pay the landlord. The banks are going to need that mortgage payment. Okay? You're going to have to pay those student loans. That's the reality. You can kick the can down the road further, but eventually the can just can't be kicked any further. It's too heavy. You break your toe. I wish a broken toe was all we had to worry about. That brings me to another point. This channel is not going to be doom and gloom, but I want to live in reality. I want to be realistic. Like, what are the real numbers? What are we looking at right now? Speaking of real numbers, how many people are really unemployed? Because if you listen to our government, it's like, oh, it's only 6 to 10%, somewhere in there. It fluctuates. After we've been facing these new unemployment claims, week after week for 11 months, 700,000 plus every single week. But you want me to believe the unemployment claims are 6 to 10%? Give me a break. Like, I'll tell you what the unemployment claims really are. Where's unemployment really at? If you include everybody, people who've been knocked down to part-time, people who are no longer on the rolls because they ran out of qualifying for unemployment. It's really sitting right around 25, 26%. Like I said, this channel is not going to be negative. It's going to be real. Like, what do we really need to prepare for? Should you be buying, like, food reserves, water, toilet paper? I mean, for the first time in 2020, Americans got a new dose of reality. That our supply chains here in the greatest nation in the world, our supply chains could be affected. We're going to see a lot more social unrest as this thing begins to balloon, and it's going to balloon. They cannot continue to just print us out of this. 25, 20, it's just remarkable, isn't it? So let me just close by saying it's super important that if you're going to just kind of give me a wink and a nod, if you're friends and family, just like and subscribe just to humor me. And secondly, I'd like to note that Jim Rogers, I seen him interviewed recently, and he said something really brilliant. And he referenced a Japanese word. That Japanese word was kiki. I hope I'm saying that right. And we don't have a word for it in English, but basically kiki means disaster and opportunity are the same thing. They're the same thing. And I believe that. You know, even during the Great Depression, there were people who made the right moves as they navigated through that tragedy, and they came out richer on the other end. Or they just gained a bunch of wealth through the Great Depression by making the right moves. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to help you to do. But this is not financial advice. This channel won't be financial advice. I will share what I'm doing for me and my family financially. And if that brings substance and helps you all in the process, that's the goal. Anyways, I look forward to another sucky video next week. Hopefully I can bring you guys better content. Take care.